Dynasty Mode, the unofficial EA Sports college football game podcast. My name is Arky Shay. That to my, I'm pointing the wrong way. There we go. That is Demetri Ravanos. Demetri, thank you for joining me for the next episode of this here pod.
Arky, this is nothing about you. This is 100% about StreamYard. I do not like this tight close-up of my face.
I gotta be honest with you. It's been like that the majority of the time. Like, I don't know.
I know. I know. I'm just like, I don't know what it is about this particular time that feels like I have no room to go up or down.
Yeah. Are you looking to bounce around this episode? Like, are you feeling froggy?
A little bit. I may have to do the thing, like for episode 5, I'm going to stack my laptop on several books and you're going to see me looking down from above.
Hey, this camera right now is on several books. In fact, it's on like 11 books right now. So yeah. I was counting them. A Mitch Album book too, by the way, which I read once, and I don't know why I still have it. I guess because I couldn't sell it and didn't want to throw it away. So
is it Tuesdays with Maury?
It's For One More Day.
I had no idea there was another one besides Tuesdays with Maury.
It's like the exact same sort of format, like 9 pages, 100 fonts, and
Mitch Album knows his audience.
he does. I was like, man, I could read this in a sitting, yeah. or one single flip of the page. All right, cool. And done. Okay, yep. Good.
Mitch, who do you think your audience is? Idiots that like sports.
I am smarter now. Okay, add this to my reading list. I'm going to get a bunch of points for this and a pizza party at the end of the school year.
Ooh.
So this episode, as you can tell by the title, above the screen here, if you're looking on the enhanced video version over on YouTube, or if you've happened to see the name when you were downloading this your podcast, it's our Voices of the Game draft. Now, this is a very simple concept. We are lovers of this college football game. We know that there is a new one coming next summer, and we feel like it's our duty to sort of make this game better, or at least in our minds, the best it can be. So we realize there are limitations maybe to what can be done, but this is our fantasy draft, brother. Like, we get to have whatever we want on this video game, Demetri. So we are going to alternate picks for a few different categories. First, let's just say this out the top. There's just a couple of rules. One, no dead people. All right? Everybody that we're going to draft has to be living as of us recording. All right?
Okay.
Sadly, things can happen. I get it. Number 2, the person connected, or the person that we were going to choose must be somewhat, at least recently, semi-recently at least, tangentially connected to college football. So
okay,
they had to have done something with the sport. I don't give you a time frame of 5 years or 3 years or whatever, but we do have to know off the top of our head that they did something with college football. And here's the third rule, which is you got to know what we're drafting for. So we're drafting for one play-by-play man in the voice or woman, 2 color commentators, because we're going to do a 3-man booth on this because it's a lot more fun that way.
Sure.
1 sideline reporter, and we're going to add a pregame show with 2 personalities. So a pregame show, 2 personalities for it. So we're going to go back and forth. Once somebody selects a media personality, they are off the board for the other person. And Demetri, you and I have not seen each other's picks at this point, so right. It's going to be a lot of fun. Are you ready?
I am ready. Arky, I believe you did all the work for this. You should get the first pick.
Actually, I flipped a coin before the show started, and I did also win. So here we go.
Okay, good.
So I'm going to start with play-by-play. It's the first person that I'm going to draft because this is my number 1 overall pick. All right? This is the person that I want the most because it is the voice you're going to hear the most throughout the game. And the number 1 pick for me is going to be for play-by-play, and it's going to be, well, we still got him, Vern Lundquist. Vern Lundquist is my number 1 choice off the board. I think that guy's voice is college football.
Yeah.
I think that guy on the SEC on CBS, especially for so many years, it's just the guy that I think gives the gravitas to the actual game itself. And obviously he's not done it. So if I could get Vern Lundquist in a studio recording hours and hours and hours and hours of Vernisms and play-by-play and descriptions, I think that's the best choice for this game. I don't care about what restrictions there may be as far as contractually speaking. Vern Lundquist, number one off the board.
Okay, well, since you went with somebody that is still with us, no longer active in college football, I'm going to do the same thing. I am not going to go play-by-play first. Now, obviously, I can wait on my play-by-play person. I think one of the best sideline reporters probably in recent memory, and if I am drafting her, I wish I could slot her into multiple roles. Give me Maria Taylor for the sideline reporter. I think she is beyond excellent. To me, I did not have another sideline reporter on my list. She was going to be my number 2 pick if I had the number 2 pick, because I knew you would probably go play-by-play first. So give me Maria Taylor.
I love Maria Taylor. I think she is a fantastic host. I think she's a fantastic sideline reporter. I think she, with her literal height and gravitas, and I think with her presence there, she is respected, and she is, and I don't mean like she'll actually get the gig respected. I mean, you see her on the game, you're going to think, okay, this is a legitimate, respectable game. And this isn't just throwing out, anybody, anytime Dick and Harry to do it.
No disrespect at all to Reese Davis. I think he's good at what he does. Maria Taylor should have been made the host of Game Day. That's how you keep her at ESPN.
I agree. I think Maria Taylor, listen, Reese Davis is a stand-up double. Right? Like he is the consummate pro. He is not going to fumble over words. He is not bad at what he does. It's just, I think Maria Taylor is the extra level of how you continue to evolve that College Game Day desk if you were going to do it. And the fact that they didn't do it, they obviously lose her to NBC, right?
NBC, yeah.
So I think it's unfortunate, but you know what? Good job for you, Mr. Demetri Ravanos. You've got her into our game. Yeah, nice job. Okay, so there's a lot of value on the board for all of these picks. So I am now going to go for my number 3 pick.
Just to confirm, we are not snake drafting this bad boy.
No.
Okay. No, that's fine. I just wanted to.
Why should you get the next pick?
All right. Touche.
Listen, I'm the one that pays for the StreamYard account.
I cannot argue with that.
I make the rules on this bitch.
All right. Very good. Very fair.
All right. A lot of value here, and I love my next pick. I'm going to the pregame show, baby, for my number 2 overall pick, which is number 3 on the board overall.
But number 1 in our hearts.
Lee Corso in the pregame. I don't think you have this game without what Lee Corso's headgear has meant to the sport itself and to the broadcast itself. Lee Corso is a no-brainer. I don't think he needs to be a studio analyst, and I don't think he's been sort of that in the game. Well, I mean, the game has been around a while. I don't think you need to hear him sort of chirping in about the game and with the analysis. I think you need him to make the pick. I think you need him to don the headgear, and I think you need him to do the wave, because that is what Lee Corso's ultimate value is for this game, to keep the tradition intact of this game, and also to still give the great tapestry of the game alive, which is what he still does now. The headgear pick became such a huge phenomenon that I'm still surprised it caught on that much. Yeah. I don't think you can have it without it. So Lee Corso is in my pregame show, is one of my pregame show personalities.
All right. So I'm also going to go to the pregame show, and I think I have 2 in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a chance you would take either one of them.
All right, be careful.
So you know what? If you are going to go Corso, then I will go Herb Street.
Herb Street for the pregame show.
For the pregame show, I think he is obviously a throwback to the old game. But I think the new game needs to have its own identity. I also don't love Herbie as a game analyst. I mean, I think he's very good at it, but
Amazon is really going to disagree with you.
Yeah, no, I think he's really good at it. I think he has definitely crossed that threshold of, if you hear his voice, it is a big game. All due credit. He's just not my favorite as a game analyst. I prefer guys that are a little more fun, that recognize that it's okay to smile while we're watching football. But I think he's. Go on.
I was like, you don't like when he and Chris Fowler are talking about, their dogs, or maybe Reese Davis, like in the opening game against the Louisville Ole Miss game, where they're talking about their dog, so there's a dog in the stands.
I would prefer more of that and less of, hey, I played quarterback and you didn't, right? That being said, like, if you're talking about pregame shows, if you're talking about the history of game day, this will feel like sacrilege, but I think if you talk about the history of game day, I think we talk about Herbie as a little bit more important to the history of the show than Corso. Not that Corso's not the icon, but I think Herbie's a little bit more important.
Boy, that is a discussion that sort of needs to be had at some point. Like, when you're writing the story of college game day up to 2021, right, their last season, like, which guy is more sort of important? Because I mean, Herbie was like there like almost day one, right? Like, so like he's been around.
I mean, he replaced oh shoot, who's the one that joke is he killed 5 hookers? Craig James.
Craig James. That's like a joke. Clearly a joke.
It is a joke, yes. He, I think, was there like literally the day Craig James left. I think Craig James was in that spot for 2 years, and then the second he was gone, Herbstreit was there.
Like a 17-year-old Kirk Herbstreit, like a very
that's right.
young Kirk Herbstreit. We forget Kirk Herbstreit's not 58 or anything. Like, he is still a young rockabilly kind of kid. I'd like to see him come out.
I think he just turned 50, right?
Did he just turn 50? I thought
it
was 48.
So. Oh, maybe he is 48. I don't know. I'm talking out my ass.
He's not old. He's got a lot of years ahead of him.
Sure.
A lot of years ahead of him. Wow, that is a good pick for your pregame show to have to Kirk Herbstreit there. That keeps the backbone and the integrity of your pregame show. I like it. So I'm no longer looking at value. I'm now looking at superstar.
Okay.
Right? Someone that I love for the position that we could put them in. Right? If we can just have more of this person in our life in this role, I think this could be humongous.
Okay.
I'm going to sideline.
Okay.
Join me as I bring from another brand also. I'm putting Andy Staples on the sideline.
Interesting.
Andy Staples, former Florida football player, has been, all over the place when it comes to doing radio interviews and TV interviews. I think it's with The Athletic now. He eats, sleeps, and breathes college football.
Yep.
He is super fun to listen to. He has got a great voice with the game itself. He is a great in-depth researcher when it comes to sort of knowing his nuts and bolts when you want to talk about a specific thing in a game, whether you want to talk about all of his pieces he's very thorough. And we're going to get some blowouts in these games.
Yeah.
We need some fun tidbits, and Andy Staples is the kind of guy that I would love to listen to. Give me these kind of fun tidbits. I love Andy Staples as a personality, and I think putting him on a sideline, even though I don't know of anywhere that he's done it, right? But I think he would be a perfect slide in. Not a ton of responsibility, and you don't have to hear his voice a bunch, but he's got credibility with the name value, he's reporting name value, and also he's associated with the fun parts of college football too, which I think works on a sideline level too when you're talking about the video game. So I'm taking Andy Staples as my sideline guy.
Okay, I am going to do something sort of similar here for my next pick, although I am going to the analyst position. Excuse me. I'm going to go way off the board here. I'm going to go with somebody that occupies a spot in college football lore that has not been a broadcaster before. Somebody that really is identified with a specific season of college football. One of those stars who burned brightly but burned out very quickly. A guy that never disappoints on social media. You're going to think I'm nuts, I think, here.
Okay.
But Arky in the booth, especially because he will have someone else working with him as an analyst. Give me Cardale Jones.
Talk to me. Talk
All
to
right.
me.
Cardale Jones, as you know, is not here to play school. Cardale Jones, remember, this is the dude that went to a children's cancer ward to play video games with kids and absolutely thrashed them all and talked shit the whole way. He has the personality to thrive on television. I am looking to build a younger, more fun booth that can do exactly what you're talking about with Staples, that can keep me engaged during those times when, you know, Georgia is up on Vanderbilt 30-0 in the second quarter. I am looking for somebody also, and I think this is a shortcoming of a lot of booths in football right now, particularly in college football. I also want somebody that played the game not that long ago.
All right.
And I think that there is a value to a guy that can talk about what it is like to compete in the playoff era. I think there's a value to a guy that can talk about what he learned from people he may not necessarily have liked learning from. I think there is value. There's a lot of value to a guy that has demonstrated over and over again that he doesn't need your approval. He will be fine. I think, you know, we talk about in the broadcast industry what not Apple, I'm sorry, but Amazon is kicking around as possibilities for its Thursday night football presentation. Have you seen that Marshawn Lynch is likely going to be part of the pregame show?
I have seen that, yes.
Like, it's going to be incredible. And I think that Marshawn at this point is very much associated with the NFL. Cardale Jones is our guy, right? Cardale Jones never really had a fair chance to be an NFL quarterback. He will forever be a Buckeye and college football legend. I want Cardale Jones in my booth.
For the video game, right?
For the video game, yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay. Like, because some of that sort of seemed like it's real life. Like, you actually want Cardale Jones just doing your games for you on your TV.
I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but I think Cardale Jones would be a lot of fun as a presenter, period. But I also think that, you know, again, I go back to the idea of moving Herbie to the pregame show. There is an element of like, we're turning the page. This is a whole new chapter for this video game franchise. Let's go with a guy that may have been alive or may have been in the sport, when the last one was around, but he didn't really make his mark until we were in the playoff era and the video game was gone.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take my next guy. You're gonna sort of you're gonna see it coming.
Just
for
go
color
ahead and
guy,
Cole.
I want Cole Kubelik. I want Cole Kubelik as an analyst.
Is he going in the analyst 1 or the analyst 2 slot?
The analyst 1 spot.
Okay,
because I would say 2 because he's been doing so much sideline lately, like in the last couple of seasons. But like, he's really good when he does sort of these midweek games and sort of take him off the SEC Network package. I think it's an insight that is very different than what we hear from former quarterbacks that are playing the game, right? Like, we get to hear from a lineman's perspective, and we get to hear someone that talks about a game that, despite the fact it's run and run and run, we're talking about a pass, a guy who still knows and can still tell you the techniques and such that sort of win at this level. And I think he's gotten so much better at presenting his information over this last several years. Like, it used to be like trying to drink out of a fire hose listening to him, right? Like, there's just so much like technical technique, which was really good and smart. But like, we had to work on getting that to where it's fewer, more concise, and something that I could understand. Someone who definitely didn't play at a high level, barely any kind of level. I'm on a college video game level at this point. And I think that's someone who you could place in, has credibility, a lot of credibility with people, especially when it comes to the football world, which obviously the only world we're talking about. But also someone that, like, I hate to sort of, I'm throwing the aesthetic of it.
Yeah.
It's a nice listen. Like, he's got a good enough authoritative voice where it feels like he sounds like he's someone who should be talking about the game itself. He doesn't sound unsure of his information and his facts. So I'll put Cole Kubelik in analyst number 1 spot in the booth.
All right. For pregame number 2 guy, I could have put him in at analyst number 2, but I like the idea of the pregame having an offensive and a defensive perspective.
Okay.
Pre-game number 2, give me Mike Golick Sr.
Okay.
I think Golick, and granted, this has happened as I've gotten older. I really appreciate what a good storyteller Golick is. I appreciate how goofy he is capable of being while also still, and granted, this comes from years of being on your radio and on your television, but also still having the gravitas that if he's talking about football, you take him seriously. I think he and Herb Street have a good enough rapport that you could get them in a booth and they could give you some pretty good spontaneous conversations that you maybe not would look forward to when they pop up in the game, but it wouldn't be, the kind of thing you're just hitting X to go through. At least the first year you have the game, you want to hear what they have to say.
Right. Okay. I like that pick. That's not one I have you see here the video, I have a list of like guys and gals that I sort of narrowed down. I didn't want you to be able to see it on the video.
I got to tell you, you know who it was down to for that number 2 slot?
Who's that?
Golick or Golick Jr.
All right. Well, you're getting in the family.
Yes.
We almost went Saved by the Bell again for the second out of 5 episodes. We could have had Bob Golick.
Bob Golick, sure.
So for me, I want to go for a pro here, and I want to go back to the pregame show with you because I think this is not just a value pick; it's another superstar pick. Okay. And I think we're completely forgetting way too much about it. I think the pregame show literally is the pick, right? Like for me, it feels like who you're picking with maybe a couple of pieces of what it was right at the very end, which was like, I think the Aggies have what it takes. Right. And that was sort of that was kind of ended up what it. I mean, that it ended up what it sort of tailed down to its very end. I think you need someone that can get it to that. Someone, again, with that level of expertise and someone is a pro and a professional. Bring me Laura Rutledge. Bring me Laura Rutledge as the host with Lee Corso. I think that is a perfect tandem as far as setting him up. And she's super funny. She's very amenable. She's someone you would want to be around and want to listen to. She hosts NFL stuff now, for crying out loud. She's just great at just about everything she does. So give me Laura Rutledge alongside Lee Corso for my pregame show.
I think Laura Rutledge she is one of the people that I point to whenever I talk to people about the SEC network being more than just a conference network. It is the best example of a company having an incubator, of a company using a conference network not as a throwaway, but as we can get the next level of talent ready. And in fact, I will go ahead and for analyst number 2 on the broadcast slot in someone that I have told multiple people, this person and Laura Rutledge could do a radio show together tomorrow. They have insane chemistry. And I think it's very important, if we're going to have the Big Ten represented in the booth with Cardell Jones, we also need the SEC with Marcus Spears.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my mother loves Marcus Spears.
I'm with you. I love Marcus Spears, man. Marcus is such what you need in a game like this, and just to listen to. It's such a personality. Right. He is such a great, thoughtful, interesting personality to be able to add to really anything you do, whether you're doing a podcast with Kendrick Perkins or whatever, or you're just going on NFL, or you're talking on the SEC, whatever you're doing, Marcus Spears is really good at it, and he's interesting and entertaining in it. So Cardell Jones, Marcus Spears in your booth. I can't wait to see who your play-by-play guy is, because let me tell you, as much as I told you, Vern's my guy for the play-by-play because it's fun, and I like Cole. I mean, in full disclosure, we're friends. We used to do a show together in radio, but I think he's really good. You knew that. Some new people may not be aware of that.
Fair.
But I'm going to go for my last analyst number 2 spot in the booth, someone who I think is criminally underrated. We never, ever, ever talk about him when it comes to the great analyst, and someone who is so good every single Saturday night, Todd Blackledge. I love Todd Blackledge as an analyst. I think he is so talented, and such again a voice that's kind of been there with you for a while, right? He sort of just seamlessly went into that sort of Saturday night or Saturday main ESPN game, whatever they would do on Saturday booth, that you just sort of took it for granted. There was no big, like, here's a big contract extension, here's our guy.
Right.
Like, you just slotted him in, and he's just so crisp, and he's good, and that voice, every time I hear it, I'm like, yeah, Todd Blackledge. Why don't we talk about Todd Blackledge? So Todd Blackledge is my analyst number 2.
All right. I want to say very quickly, I wish I had a spot for Spencer Hall on here. I think he's tremendously entertaining. I know that college football fans are divided on him. I wish I had a spot for Pat McAfee on here. I think he's tremendously entertaining. As bad as literally everything about Fox's television coverage of college football is, and as much as, like, personally, I think this guy is just a friggin' dork, I think Matt Leinart is a very good analyst. I wish there was a spot for him on here. That being said, Arky, for the play-by-play voice, you hit the nail on the head. It has to sound like college football. And you've taken Vern.
Hit me, please.
You've taken Vern, and it makes me very sad. But it does make me happy that Brent Musburger is still out there. Brent Musburger is going to be the voice of my version of NCAA.
Oh, man, I gotta tell you, you swerved me there. You swerved me. I thought I knew exactly where you were going with that.
Did you think I was going Gus Johnson?
Man, that was it was him or Vern for me. And once I
really, okay, so I will tell you, it was Gus up until you said Vern sounds like college football. And I was like, God, that is really important for this game.
Vern sounds like college football, but Gus is like the number 2 as far as the big game, sort of or 2.5-ish when people think about the big game. But his, like, the enthusiasm in his call, I want in my game badly.
Did you would appreciate this.
If Vern had accidentally passed away or something, Gus was going to be my number 1. And I wish you could have 2 play-by-play guys. I love Gus' idea for this game. And if Vern said no, Gus, yes, give me Gus. I love Gus Johnson.
Yeah, if Vern had died in a fiery drag racing accident.
Which he almost did a couple of times. Let's be fair. Everyone talks about Tiger's car accident. They don't talk about Vern's.
You would appreciate this. Have you seen the video from Monday night on the Sixers-Raptors game of Greg Anthony teaching Vern what an over-under is?
No. Oh, okay. That's good in my Google machine.
Yeah, you should look it up because Vern, like they, on the NBA and TNT, they put up the FanDuel live graphics and Gus says something to the effect of, the over-under has come down by a half a point. I got to be honest with you. I don't know what that means. And Greg Anthony explains it to him, and Vern, and I keep wanting to call him Vern.
Yeah, you do.
Gus's response is, all right, UNLV education.
Right. Math. Totally got me, right? Nice job running reps, teaching you some math over in Vegas. Hey, real quick, I want you to see this. See who my arrow is pointed at?
Spencer Hall.
That was one of the guys for the pregame show I was considering. And by the way,
I got to tell you,
first on that list of guys I wanted to consider.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I love. I liked the initial version of what was that show on SEC Network that was Greg and Spears. Thinking Out Loud.
Yeah,
I thought it was good with them. I think it's great with Spencer and Richard Johnson. I think that show is so much better now with 2 people that literally do not care if they upset the SEC.
Yeah, like it's fun. It's weird, and maybe we can get Spencer and him to do sort of like a clip in every couple of games. Like we're I mean, I don't know how you would do it, but it really doesn't matter to me. Like his personality is unique and weird for college football. His look is like unique and weird for college football. Right. I think he'd be a really fun addition to a college football game.
Real fast, if we were to throw a betting analyst on this thing, or just somebody that offered a quick betting tip.
God, you know me. Like I'm loyal to my guys who really know this and sound it. Like do you know who Vegas Runner is?
No.
Okay, so Vegas Runner is a national guy. He's in Vegas. He does radio shows. He did my radio show, but he's got such a a unique voice. Like he's you guys have to go find. He's on Twitter. I think it's the Greek Gambler, Greek _ Gambler, or something like that. Just DM me. Okay. I'll send you to him. Yeah, he's got such a. But again, that's a unique voice where it sounds like he's like an inside guy, like a wise guy, right? Like he sounds like he's got the number for you. So if we're gonna do that, someone super unique like that, that would be my pick there. Do you have somebody?
Yeah, I do. I do. You're gonna think I'm nuts. Okay. But remember, he used to be a college football analyst on CBS.
Okay.
Do you know?
No, go ahead.
Francesa.
I can only imagine Mike Francesa as the betting analyst in 2023. It's such a circus.
The video of him eulogizing Stan Lee may be my favorite thing in the history of the internet, if you have not seen it.
We've given you guys several things to sort of Google here and find out about. We could put them in the enhanced video. I don't think we own the rights to them, so I don't think we're allowed to. So I would like to not get sued and not to lose this here audio for the YouTube and also the video as well. Yep. Wow, so that's a good one. So let me just recap real quick. My dream NCAA football video game voices list has Vern as your voice, play-by-play. Cole Kublik and Todd Blackledge inside the booth. Andy Staples on the sideline. And your pregame show with Lee Corso with Laura Rutledge.
Demetri's. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. My gaming analyst would be Vegas Runner. Did I miss somebody?
No, you got it. For me, play-by-play is Brent Musburger alongside Cardell Jones and Marcus Spears. Oh man, and I just want to be there for the recording session when Brent Musburger thinks he can get away with saying the N-word. Maria Taylor on the sideline. My pregame show is Kirk Herbstreit and Mike Golick Sr. And then my betting analyst is Mike Francesa.
I think whichever one of our games gets made, it's going to be really fun to listen to.
Absolutely.
I think we win. All right, Demetri, that's going to do it for us. You can find us on the enhanced YouTube video version at the YouTube. Just search for Arky ArkyShea. Subscribe again. We get those numbers up, and I'll actually make a page for it. Until then, suck it, losers. Also, the audio is wherever you want it. Google, Apple, Spotify. It's probably on your phone right now, to be honest with you. So I think that's going to close out Dynasty Mode episode 4.
Weird, right? It is weird that we promote where you can find the show to people that ostensibly have already found the show.
Yeah, see, I'm not gonna listen to that criticism because now next week I won't do it. So
right, fair.
If you're listening and want the video, that's where you get the video. And if you got the video and you want to listen, that's where you go get it. So skip back about 30 seconds and retry that. All right, that's it. Demetri, say goodbye to the good people.
Save and sim to next week, everybody.